Hey everybody, this is PJ Riley from Competition Archery Media down here at Camp Minden at the Easton Hoyt Pro-Am for another episode of Shot of the Week. We're here, of course, this week with Dan McCarthy on the unknown side. And Dan, I tried to do the known thing last time and it didn't go very well for me.
It's tough stuff.
Those guys can shoot those small targets long distances. You guys do too, but we won't talk about last time.
You need to quit worrying about that stuff. I think people understand the pressure that PJ's under sometimes, though. Just to shoot in front of a camera, all of it, it's a lot. So
that bothered me for about 3 days.
You need to relax on yourself. Bad shots. People make bad shots.
They happen. So anyway, the reason that I am mentioning that is the ASA guys took some pity on me and they set a special target which has some unique circumstances and it does have a place in 3D. When people see it, they'll understand what I'm talking about. Let's go check this one out.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Dan, so as you can see, the ASA guys didn't want me stretched out too far here. So it's a super close one, but I had just asked you beforehand, when do you see targets like this? We don't see it too often in ASA. It can.
Yeah, I've shot a few targets like this in ASA. Every once in a while they try to throw one in there and fool us. And it is this is a technical target. This isn't a hard target to aim at. This isn't a hard target to make a shot at this kind of a distance. The difficulty in these kind of targets is knowing your equipment and understanding how to short yardage convert your sight.
Gotcha.
So that's really, and this honestly, they're pretty gentle on us at this distance.
Closer's harder, I feel like.
Can be.
Yeah. And when we go up there, we'll show people, I mean, this is an open pro range, so these are pro archers. You'll see a pretty wide array of arrow impacts
all
here.
Vertical, up and down.
Yeah.
And that just, that's just people not, and I mean, we're still guessing the distance. And that's we'll talk about it afterwards. I don't want to influence your decision, but there's a big difference in where you're going to set your sight.
Yeah.
In a lot of these situations.
For sure. Well, I'm just going to take a shot and see what happens.
So this distance, I mean, where I would reference it, like to give you a clue, not that you need it because you probably shoot this enough, but this is very similar to where you're going to paper tune.
Right.
So if you paper tune, at this distance, this is about like where you'd have to be setting your sight to hit, right behind your pin at those distances.
Well, I'm going to try. I have a feeling if I'm going to miss low, so I will shoot at the upper on this one. Oh, take my glasses off.
Why do you have a feeling you're going to miss?
Because I don't really know where to set my sight for these close ones.
Well, and this isn't necessarily advice for you on this target, but this is one of the closest targets you're ever going to see on a course, whether it be this distance, 20 yards, 30 yards, but a lot of those super close targets, if you can't just have the confidence and the courage to aim exactly at these, because these are as easy as it's gonna get.
Right.
You really need to try to take advantage of aiming right at it, being okay with shooting an 8, but just running your game at these shorter targets. Because that's really where if you hit those, then you don't have to be aggressive.
Right.
So I mean, if you can't aggressively, confidently, courageously aim at this 12, good luck on like a 49-yard turkey.
That's my plan, and I think I have an idea where this goes. That's where my lack of confidence comes in. I have not messed with this kind setup for this kind of shot. Okay. I think I know where it is.
But for everybody else, when it's a short target out there, and you're saying like, man, I'll probably go low, so I'm going to add a little bit of yards, or I'm probably going to go high, so I'm going to cut a little bit. Don't do it on these short ones. Gun at these short ones if you can, and save the safe 10s for the targets you should be being smart and shooting safe 10s on.
My feeling is I should hit this.
Okay.
That's how I'm going into this.
You will hit this.
But just in case.
Will hit this. I know you will.
Whoa.
Straight left.
Left 10. I can't explain the left.
Shoot it again. First look everything over really good.
The shot felt good. I don't know where that came from.
It's your bottom of the 12 height.
Yeah, that's right where I thought it was going to hit, but I don't know what happened there.
Same height, just straight underneath it.
Straight underneath it. Yeah, I had a feeling, if anything.
So my guess is you probably shot 20.
I probably torqued it.
You left your sight on. Did you shoot 20 or 25?
I shot it for up what would be on my sight tape, what would be like 15, but I have never shot that distance.
Yeah. Okay, so you know your 15 mark, 15, 13 is more where your sight's going to crest. So that's the highest your arrow is going to get, is somewhere in that 15 mark, meaning the only time you're really going to hit that height is going to be around 14, 15, 16, maybe 13. They're all going to be right in that 15 area.
Right.
So inside of that, so closer than that mark, you're going to actually have to lower your sight. So in this instance, on this target, I judged this target for, I couldn't tell, you know, is this target 5 yards? Is this target 6 yards?
I was thinking 6.
Yeah, me too. But I wasn't 100% sure. And I was like, it could be 5. It really could be. And for me, I know my 5 yard mark, I'd set my sight on 37 yards. That's for my peep height, my setup. 37 yards is where I'm going to set my sight. That's where I absolutely would hit inside of an arrow hole. 6 yards, I would set my sight on 31. So I wasn't sure if it was 5 or 6, but I knew, hey, if I set my sight on 32, 32 and a half, 33, I'm going to hit it.
Right.
If it's in between 5 or 6. So that's what I did. I shot it for 33, I think. I hit inside out right at 12 o'clock. But it's a huge difference. I mean, if this target was 2 yards, let's say, that's, for me, that's setting my sight on 90 yards.
Right.
So it takes, and that's what I was saying, it's a very technical target to shoot, to know where you have to move that pin and where you have to move that sight, depending on how far that target is.
That's on my field setup, the shortest target. I know I shoot that one, it's like 47, 48 is my setting.
Yes, so it's probably
center,
a 4 yarder.
It's super short, but
yeah.
Well, let's go look at these. It's a 10, but so Dan, this is the first one. This is the one that's for score, and I must have torqued it, or who knows what I did there. But anyways, you mentioned the height's about the same. I was aiming dead center, figuring I'd hit a little low just because that was a shot in the dark.
But you had a feeling that you were going to shoot low.
I did.
And that's what I was saying. Like, if you have a feeling on the shortest ones, go ahead and add a little bit if you can, because you need them. You need these. But you can see here.
Look at the shot pattern.
You can see that, like, most of these shots here were probably people aiming at the, center of the lower, and then this line of arrows is people shooting at the upper.
Yeah.
And it just, it's just these holes here, I'm guessing, are a lot of people leaving their sight on 20 yards and shooting at those. And then these are people either, misguessing it on the other side. Maybe they thought it was 4 yards. And if they shoot it for 4 yards, that's but in my sight would be like 47 or something like that, 46. In order to hit that, and that's where I would hit.
I stood here with and watched Jack Wallace's group, whatever it was, and I mean, there's 4 solid pros, and all 4 of them shot 10s on the closest shot, 6
Really?
yards. So it's not.
We had 3 12s in my group. I hit this hole right here. This is my hole just above center, and then we had 2 12s on this one that were barely 12s, right at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then one guy hit right here, center 10. And he actually aimed center. He said, I don't know what to do on this one. He said, I could easily hit underneath my pin here, so I'm just gonna hold them in the middle area of the 10, and I know I'll stay at 10 on this target.
Yeah.
But I mean, these tricks some people every once in a while.
There is other tournaments that you shoot where those are more common. Of course, Redding, you're always going to see.
Yeah, I've seen hundreds of these targets from in Redding. We shoot a 3-yarder there. I think is our shortest, 3 or 4. I think it's a 3.
3.
Now. They added a. We used to shoot 4 was the shortest. Now we shoot a 3. We shoot several of them in that single digit area where you're actually converting more into feet. Because it's known distance, so it's down to the foot, because it's a 5-yard change a lot of times from 1 foot of a difference in distance. And then I've shot a few short targets in IBO, and we've shot a couple of them here. I mean, I've seen a shorter target than this here before. OPA, we shoot really short targets every once in a while, and Bowfest, they had some, so we get a taste of it. But
well, to the ASA guys, Scott Parrott and everybody who set this up, I know you were hoping that I would take this and get a 12. I didn't, but a 10 is better than a 5.
But I will say too, for people that are watching, bow hunters or whatever, this is a very common thing, very close range. When a deer comes in and it's like right underneath your tree stand, it's in that 4 or 5 yard range. There's a lot of guys that make good shots, execute good shots, but they use their first pin. They put their 20-yard pin right where they want to hit that thing. And you really should be shooting that deer with your 30, at that 5 yard mark, 30 or 40. Right. At 4 yards, you're almost using your 50-yard pin. So it's something to practice a little bit at home. Convert those real short shots. I would start somewhere in that 3 yards. 3 yards, 4 yards, and just kind of walk back and sight in and check and just have that little mental thing in there, because bow hunting, I've seen it come into play a lot of times where that deer walks right up to them and somebody screws it up. They shoot it out of a ground blind, they hit it way low because they use their 20-yard pin, or shoot it out of a tree stand and just hit underneath marginal shot a little too low. So
well, I found it interesting that I did not plan for this shot, so if I came out here and was competing, I was totally unprepared. For the closest shot.
Yep.
Which you would think, oh, that's a gimme, but
you always hope for it. I mean, bow hunting is like I'm hoping a booner walks right there, But if you don't know what you're doing at that distance, it's so close that your instincts are just to put your closest pin on it, but it inverts. Like I said, your sight will actually the highest point of your sight is probably going to be anywhere from 13 to 15 yards. And anything closer than 13 to 15 yards, you're gonna actually have to shoot a lower sight. So then back to 20, at 10 yards, 11 yards, and then as you get inside of that 10 yards, 11 yards, you're gonna start getting into the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 90 yards around 6 feet. So.
Well, all right, thanks for the insight, Dan. Unfortunately, well, it is what it is.
Hey, this is archery. If it was easy, we'd do great every day, but we don't. None of us do.